I was waiting for someone in the media to say this, and it just took but a day after my video for Joy Reid to put out this stupid statement. And yes, it's stupid. I mentioned yesterday that the news media focuses on something crazy like this story here with Gabby Petito, where a woman, winds up missing. The boyfriend, fiance, goes back home, then winds up missing himself or absconded somewhere. And the news media focuses on that, but not the violence in Chicago. Usually if it bleeds, it leads, but usually the news media only focuses on really crazy stories, but not the stuff that just generally happens every weekend and it's all part of the plan. It's accepted. We just sort of ignore it, and like the sun coming up. Oh yeah, the sun comes up. Oh yeah, 9 people were killed in Chicago. Whatever, moving right along. Like, wait, what about Chicago? This is the interesting point here. Joy Reid always is about race. It's a white woman. The news media is all about the white women being, it's missing white women syndrome. Really? Well, then what about the missing people that are basically from the world every weekend in Chicago? You don't hear Joy Reid talking about that. Well, why is that? Again, I go back to my hypothesis is that it's all part of the plan. It happens every weekend. We've been desensitized to it over the last 30, 40, 50 years in Chicago. It's accepted. We just sort of move on. It's just the sun coming up every day. We just know what's going to happen, and we take it for granted. But when someone like Gabby Petito, something really crazy coming out, when all these stories of, people calling them, like this one story where someone called the police on the boyfriend slapping the crap out of her. Allegedly, of course. Allegedly. That this is more stuff comes out. But in Chicago, again, just no one cares because it's, gang violence or it's nobody important, according to the media. If the media really wanted to get on top of it and started getting down into the trenches in Chicago and start reporting on people and getting their names out there, that would be a good thing, but they don't. Monday on her show, Joy Reid, which is an unfortunate name for her because she has zero joy in her life, said the media coverage of 22-year-old Gabby Petito is a clear sense of missing white woman syndrome. What a racist statement, you know that? You don't hear her talking about Chicago, missing black person syndrome. Why? Because she doesn't care about Chicago. Because she's in the high society. She doesn't associate herself with people in Chicago, the lower rungs of society. She doesn't care about those people. It's obvious. Reid said, if you've been watching the news for the past few days on Twitter or TikTok, you're familiar with Gabby Petito, 22-year-old aspiring social media influencer who was reported missing after her fiancé returned from their van life excursion without her. On Sunday, human remains believed that Petito were found in the national park in Wyoming. An autopsy is scheduled for tomorrow to confirm the identity. Now it goes without saying that no family should ever endure that kind of pain. Here comes a but. And the Petito family should certainly deserves answers and justice. She continued, but the way the story captivated a nation has many wondering why not the same media attention when people of color go missing. Yeah, like I said, why don't you care about the people being killed in Chicago who go missing from life? We know they're there. We see them. They're dead. But why doesn't Joy Reid get down in Chicago? Because no one cares. Joy Reid doesn't give a shit. It's apparent. She only concerns herself about race. And why is the media talking about white people? Yeah, Joy Reid of the media, why are you only talking about white people? What about all the people who die in all the major cities in the United States? Where's your concern for them? That's right, you don't give a crap. It's apparent. And you're apparently that you're racist against white people. Obviously, Joy Reid, you're a racist bigot. Well, the answer actually has a name, missing white women syndrome, a term coined by the late great Gwen Ifill to describe the media and public fascination with missing white women like Lacey Peterson or Natalie Holloway, while ignoring cases involving people of color. You ignore missing people from life of people of color, which is black people for the most part in Chicago. Why aren't you talking about them? You should be talking about their names every single weekend of the people who are shot and or killed in Chicago. Joy Reid, why aren't you talking about them? Because you don't care. You want to bring up race whenever it ever fits your narrative. That's the point I want to make. Black and Missing Foundation co-founder Derek Wilson said, "It is definitely the issue, and we've been sounding the alarm for nearly 14 years because of this. When it comes to missing persons of color, men, women, and children, our cases are not taken seriously, and no one is looking for us if we're going to go missing." Listen, some of that is somewhat true. Also, some of it is you're not looking further past the issue. Again, many people die in Chicago every weekend. Is Joy Reid talking about it? Is Joy Reid going down there interviewing the bereaved families, friends, co-workers of these people who are killed? Are they? No, they're not. Is she interviewing Lori Lightfoot to get to the bottom of why there's so much violence in Chicago? No. No, she's not. Why? Because it doesn't sell. Even though if it bleeds, it leads. Why isn't she there? That should be a big story for a person of color like Joy Reid is down there where other persons of color are being murdered by other persons of color. Joy Reid is a racist bigot. She's part of the media. She could be right now in Chicago getting the names out of the people who are murdered every single weekend and let the world know that what's going on. But it just doesn't sell. MSNBC doesn't care. But when something like Gabby Petito, which is a really, it's astounding story, you know, it's crazy, it's weird, you know, has a lot of different facets. But Joy Reid only seems to care about that if it has to deal with race. But she's not in the trenches in Chicago getting to the bottom of race and, you know, murder and gun violence and, you know, what the politics in Chicago. She doesn't care because Lori Lightfoot is a Democrat. Joy Reid is a Democrat. MSNBC are led by liberal, filthy Democrats. They don't care. They don't want to bring a spotlight on Chicago because it goes against their narrative that everything that liberals touch is really awesome. So when a white woman goes missing under weird circumstances, of course it's going to lead. But again, where's Joy Reid on it, on Chicago? Silence. That's because Joy Reid is, well, she's a hypocrite to the core. A hypocrite through and through.